What kind of doctor are you?
So that's also a very, very long-winded question.
We got time. So
okay, good. So I'd actually got accepted to medical school out of high school, and at the same time I was accepted to play professional hockey. And my father kind of sat me down, and I had about 10 seconds to kind of make the decision, because I had just left the training camp for the Erie Otters, which was an OHL team, and they're like, we weren't expecting to pick anybody up. And I graduated high school at 245, so I was a monster.
I was about to say, jacked.
Monster. And they had wanted me to come on and be the fighter. And they're like, we can only take one 16-year-old or one 22-year-old. Everything else is in between. We had our 22-year-old, but it was the guy I had challenged to fight the entire training camp.
Yeah.
So it was a situation like we were going to offer you the position. So of course, my dream just came true. Getting accepted to medical school was really awesome out of high school.
I was about to say out of high school.
Shit, man. I mean, like give me NHL, give me hockey. Yeah. So I sat down, and we had walked down with the owner of the hockey team, and my dad's drinking beer in the back of his truck. It's snowing up in Erie, Pennsylvania. And the guy, of course, he sees me. What did he do? He thought I had done something wrong. He was like, no. He explained what it was, but I would lose all college eligibility, and I wouldn't be able to do because the medical program was, I skipped 2 years of college. I do 2 years of college, and I go right into medical school as long as I keep my grades up. And he goes, let me talk to my son. And it was one of the most impactful things I've ever. I think I became a man that night, because he basically sat me down on one of those little things that stop your car when you're parking. Mm-hmm. He didn't even look at me. He goes, I'll support you both ways emotionally, but if you get hurt, don't you dare come home. I said, fuck it, I'm gonna be a doctor then. You know what I mean? So I transitioned, from my thinking of, I'm gonna be a hockey player into the whole doctor thing. But as I did that, I said, if I have to be a doctor now, because now I'm like, man, it's costing me my dream. I was like, I'm gonna Frank Sinatra the shit out of it. I'm gonna do it my way.
Okay.
So during my time in college and in medical school, I developed what I would tend to call lifestyle medicine. And what it is, it's a collaboration of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Emotional constitutes, the people you're with, the things you're doing, all that kind of stuff. And basically what we do is it's focused on diagnostic testing. So medicine should be customized. I think everybody's a unique individual, and they should be treated as such, which traditional medicine falls far short of that.
Definitely.
So I went through, did my schooling with that, came out. I had won Mr. USA. My first year of medical school, I took a year off, which my dad was not pleased about. I got kicked out of the house. But he saw the first check come in, and he's just like, all right, maybe you can move back in, you know what I mean? And so with that, I started to develop all these different protocols. I was the first doctor in Miami Beach to do IVs on the beach, the first doctor to bring ketamine therapy into it, first one for hyperbarics, first one for NAD. So basically, I kind of built the wellness, anti-aging, regenerative practices out throughout Miami. So it was kind of fun to be like the godfather of it down here,
So do you know, sorry, I'm just, because I'm into this.
Trust me, I guess there's a lot of dots we're going to connect today.
Yeah. So do you know Dr. Christopher Goddard?
Goddard? No, I don't know.
The Osteopathic Center?
No, where's that at?
Oh my gosh, you two got to get together. That's
wait, what's his name again?
Dr. Christopher Sean Goddard.
Goddard.
He goes by Sean.
Oh yeah, Sean. Yeah, okay.
Sean Goddard.
Yes,
he goes by Sean.
Well. Yes, yeah. I did my residency aspect with him.
Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was about to say you guys would hit it off. So that's my anti-aging longevity.
He's great.
He's basically like my doctor. Basically,
dude, he's fantastic. That's a nice thing.
I do all the IVs, the hyperbarics, everything with him. So
that's fantastic. Yeah. No, he's awesome. I mean, and again, they just did an article. I think it was for US Today or whatever it was. They touted me as the world's most hated doctor among doctors, and I wear that like a badge of fucking honor.
I was about to say.
No, I love that because because doctors this day and age, and again, my brother's a urologic reconstructive surgeon. They fly him all over the world, and for I'd say the first 5 years of my practice, me and him hardly talked. Because my approach is like a very macroscopic view, whereas all physicians are like cardiology, just the heart. Well, what about his diet? I don't care about that. I'm fixing the heart. It's just like, it's the most important fucking thing out there, you know what I mean?
It kind of connects there.
Exactly. So it's funny, man. With my patients, I treat some of the biggest button pushers you can think of in this world. And they have a team of doctors. And it always ends up me getting some kind of altercation with them.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. I think medicine should be more common sense based.
100%.
Nobody does that anymore.
So I broke my back twice. And in college football, and I went to the University of Miami to get diagnosed and to get to fix it, right? Yep. So they wanted to literally take my vertebrae out and put 6 screws and 6 to 8 months of rehab and all this stuff. So I was and I was seriously considering doing it because I was in so much pain. I was in 24-hour pain for 4 years, shooting pain. So I'm in the elevator of where do we live? It was right over here. anyways, North Bayshore Drive, right in front of Margaret Pace Park. I forget the name of the place. Quantum on the Bay.
Okay.
Where I was
know where you're at.
So I'm in the penthouse at Quantum on the Bay across from Mario Chalmers. And I'm in the elevator and I'm with my 2 dogs and Sean walks in.
Oh, okay.
So you'll love this story because it's right along the line. So he walks in and then I get out of the elevator and I start walking my dogs. And then I hear, is your back hurt? Like that.
There you go.
And so I turned around and I was like, yeah, I'm actually in severe pain right now. It's shooting down my leg. And he was, I can fix you, like that.
Oh,
and I was like,
confidence, man.
And I was like, okay, So complete stranger in the elevator. So that night he comes up to my apartment with like 50 needles like this long, and he injects me. Imagine stranger, okay? He injects me.
Nuts on you, man.
He injects me with volcanic ash,
okay,
like and dextrose.
Okay,
it's like prolotherapy, but back then it was like the strongest.
Yeah, back in the
they
day
don't even let you do this.
No, not anymore. Prolotherapies, yeah.
And so then he tells, and it hurt like, like
it's a painful
he shot like, I'm talking like 50 something injections. And I'm screaming and cussing and I'm like, what the hell have I got myself into? And then he tells me, he's like, look, the next day you're going to hate my guts. He's like, you're going to feel worse. And he goes, really, quite frankly, it's probably going to be 3 days. Yeah. And he goes, but I swear on the 4th or 5th day, you're going to feel like a new person. Mm-hmm. So sure enough, the next day, I call him up and literally cuss him out because I couldn't even walk. Yeah. Like I could not function.
Yeah.
And he was like, calm, but he was just a very calming, like I was losing it and acting like a fool.
Morgan Freeman
and he was
voice,
just like, you're going to be fine, and I was like, all right. And sure enough, I kid you not, the 4th day, all my pain was gone.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so of course then I go back to like doing Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu,
exactly, right?
Lifting heavy again. And I'm like, I'm healed. And then I hurt myself again. And so he's been injecting me ever since.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now he does like more like stem cells and stuff like that. But it was a great situation.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's such a small beach.
Oh, definitely. Especially like when you have like that tribe that believes in the same thing.
Oh, for sure.
You end up meeting the same people. This is a little off script, but now that I know who you are, because so people have talked about you.
Okay.
For some reason, people are dying to get
Hopefully
me
good. I mean,
all in a very positive way.
Good.
So Derek DeGrazio too.
Oh my God.
So that's my boy. That's
Derek's,
my guy.
the man,
I love him.
Him and his wife. His wife.
Oh my God. His wife is
man.
No, she's more savage. Come on, let's keep it real.
I'm trying
Derek's
to be polite with him now.
He knows it. He has a but
that's good. Oh my God, yeah.
It's such a small world. But Derek works out of my gym and love him to death. But him and Kaplan have been trying to get me to go see you for some reason. But I want to talk about a little bit about like what you do there, and especially the ketamine stuff. Because I'll tell you a funny story. Like every time somebody tells me about ketamine therapy, all I do is I take myself back to my college days where I would come home.
I like where this is going.
I would come home and my brother and about like 4 or 5 hood boys with like fros would be cooking ketamine in the kitchen, and then all of a sudden they're in the K-hole on the couch, and I'm like trying to talk to them and they don't even know where they are.
Good luck on that one, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's like my experience. I've never done it before, but that's my experience, like seeing it.
Which is most people's experience.
You know what I mean? Crazy. And then to hear it being done the way you're doing it is kind of like, whoa, what is this?
It's
you know what I mean?
Fascinating medication. Yeah. And the thing is, the funny, like I really didn't, I haven't studied in it or anything like that. It was kind of a firsthand aspect. I was at Zuma drinking too much. And one of my patients had a bodyguard there, and this guy happened to be the, what was he? He was the son of the only man who beat Bruce Lee in competition. Some of his are Persian, I don't know where he's from, And Dave was there actually for this. Right. So we lined up. I was like, all right, let's arm wrestle, So I mean, I used to do that on a rather large scale. So get up. And again, this is where it taught me a very valuable lesson. And I always prepare for everything. So of course he's on that side, I'm on this side. Let's hit it. Okay. Second he grabs the table, stands and twists. Pop, boom, shatters it. The maitre d' at the front of Zuma ran back because he actually thought it was a gunshot.
Wait, he broke your arm.
Snapped. So you can see now. Oof. I have a plate with 13 screws in it. And
in Zuma.
In Zuma.
That's like one of the most expensive literally in Miami. Like literally.
At least I got out of the bill, which was great. Right. No, so they take me to the ER at Mount Sinai, worst ER in the world.
Oh, I have a ER story about them too.
Oh my God, they're so bad. So we get there and like the guy's looking at me and like I burn through pain medication. It's the worst superpower to have. You give me pain medication, it's gone in 2 seconds. So they're sitting there like, we got to set your arm. I'm like, dude, it still hurts. They're like, we just gave you a couple milligrams of hair. No. So like, give him ketamine. I'm like, go on.
Yeah.
What was this one? Because I'd never done ketamine before.
Right.
Intravenous. I'm just like, sent my girlfriend at the time out, sent my assistant, because I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He comes over, you can still see the bump, screws in the actual syringe to give me the push, and he looks at me, and I had been training, so I was about 190 at the time, and he's like, you're like 230, right? I'm like, no, man, I'm 190. It's already in.
Oh,
and the
my
doctor's just
God.
like, just hit him with it. He'll have a better trip. Let's go. And I felt that medication come up, not the front of my arm, and pull in the back of my head. And in about 5 seconds, I saw my entire life flash before me as my soul, spirit, essence, whatever the fuck you want to call it, left. And I sat there, and for that 45 minutes, it was probably the most peace I've ever felt in my entire life. Wow. You know, I used to be the biggest guy, strongest guy, best looking guy, blah, blah, blah. Right. And at that point, everything, your ego just fell away. And it was crazy because like they have videos, of course they're videoing me and fucking around, you know, they're like, I'm like, help. It wasn't because I was scared. It's because I was starting to come out of it. I was like, I don't want to go back. I'm getting goosebumps. Wow. I don't want to come back.
Yeah.
And it was funny after I did that. And again, this is when ketamine therapy, nobody knew about. I mean, nobody was doing ketamine therapy for depression, anxiety.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Ketamine it's a cat tranquilizer, like a big cat tranquilizer.
Oh, no, yeah,
right?
yeah, for horses.
Like for horses or cat, like.
Well, usually what it is, but they in medicine, they use it for geriatrics, pediatrics, and usually in war. Okay. Because geriatrics, pediatrics, ketamine is one of the safest things you can do, which nobody tells you. It doesn't affect your heart rate, doesn't affect your breathing. So you can overdose on it, you're not going to die. You overdose on fentanyl or something, good luck, you know.
Right.
Talk to you later.
Man, even the stuff they give you at the dentist creates like.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so
ketamine
is
every time I go to the dentist.
Nitrous and all that kind of stuff.
They're
right?
like, you know, and I hate it.
Oh,
because
really?
you're stuck.
Yeah, you can't move.
And your heart's beating a million miles an hour.
No, for sure.
It
Ketamine's
sucks.
Nothing
And you're like,
that,
yeah.
Man, nothing. It was just crazy. So I came out of it. And again, so of course, you know, Mount Sinai, the guy wouldn't come in. 10 days go by. So what they have to do is they go in, because I was on IGF, all kinds of stuff back, you know, the hardcore stuff to regenerate and heal, you know. And I came out, and they so I go into surgery. I might have had a drink or two the night before for some reason. And they actually had to re-break my arm because I had healed so fast. So what they did was they gave me a complete wrist trauma. I was walking around like this. Like if you're like, I'll give you $10,000, give me a thumbs up, I'd be like this. So then I go to Baptist, and they do the nerve study test where they stick a gigantic needle in everyone and shock you.
I've done that before.
Oh,
it's miserable.
Fuck. So this big, you know, nurse was there. Worst bedside manner. She's like, "Oh, darling, you ain't gonna have that hand back." I'm like, dude, I am the king in my mind of South Beach right now. You ever see Nip Tuck?
Of course.
I was Christian Troy of South Beach. You know what I mean? It was the best time of my life.
Right.
I'm just like,
yeah, I can't do this.
I'm
like,
gimp,
right.
So
Exactly.
I said, you know what, fuck it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my shit together, and I just researched what I wanted to do: IGF-1, thymosin beta, all these different things. And again, this is before peptides were even a thing. You know what I mean?
So by the way, before peptides were a thing, so Sean learned about peptides through me.
No shit.
So I was buying them on the black market,
dude, yeah.
And just doing my own research and injecting them and stuff.
They're so good.
And then they're so good.
I
was like, and I had to tell Sean, and it was crazy. Yeah.
No, they're so good. So I sat there, I started going with it, and within 3 weeks, I had my complete arm healed. They took an X-ray.
Amazing.
The doctor came back and was like, "What did you do?" I was like, well, I mean, did some of my own medicine, you know? Yeah. And he showed me a picture of the X-ray where my bone had healed so much around the plate. It was like, it looked like fingers almost. And then the best thing is, well, yeah, your nerve probably is not going to heal. 6 months later, like nothing, like this arm's actually stronger now.
Wow.
And the best part about that entire crazy experience was when I did the ketamine, my business doubled and then doubled again because I stepped back. I stepped out of trying to be in the forefront of everything, trying to be the best looking guy, the strongest guy, the biggest guy. I said, fuck it. Let the world come to you. You know what I mean? Don't chase it. And everything from love to relationships to partners to everything it could be. Phenomenal. And ketamine, so I sat there and said, if that made that big of a difference in me, I need to research this and figure it out. So once I started doing that and I started introducing it down here, like everybody looked at me like I was a pariah. They're like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're giving people are coming to my clinic. My clinic was all black with like splatter painted of like glow in the dark shit and all that. It was crazy. And like we started treating people, and it just one after another of amazing results. Like from Parkinson's to people who were depressed to people who were suicide. Like I had a guy who was slit his throat with a box cutter, Kevin. One treatment. It's fascinating. Wow. But, and here's a big but.
Yeah.
The problem is with ketamine is now that it's so mainstream, there's so many sharks in this industry. There's so many bad doctors and bad businessmen that they're just giving out like Tic Tacs. And the problem with that is there's no follow-up. There's no monitoring. You can sit there and have that experience to where if your hormones aren't right, if your nutrition's off, if you're toxic, you'll never heal. Right. You'll just sit there and feel good for a couple days. You know what I mean? Like a true thing. Like I even joke with like these life coaches. You should see them once if they're doing their job. You know what I mean? Ketamine's the same way. You should do it a couple 100%. Times to get there, and then you do it maintenance, not every single fucking week. And it's just like, these people are like, oh, I'm doing ketamine tonight and I'm out at a club. I'm like, you're fucking ruining it. Right. You know what I mean? I'm just waiting for something like Matthew Perry. That whole bullshit with Matthew Perry, how they blame ketamine for everything. Wow. Granted, he had 4 other narcotics in his system they don't talk about. Right. But it's that kind of shit that's going to take it away from the people who need it. And that's where this industry right now, you know, the wellness industry is a $5.6 trillion industry. It's predicted by 2027 to be 8.6 trillion. The biggest growth of any industry in the world. That's how many people are getting into it. But you get all of these sharks and these doctors who don't know what the fuck they're doing and all this kind of shit. It's getting terrifying. Back like when me and Sean, when we first started out, there was nobody doing it. We were the black sheep of it, you know. And like now you see all these people who are cardiologists. Oh yeah, I also prescribe testosterone. I'm like, you're killing people. You can't just do testosterone alone. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna castrate somebody. You can't just do growth hormone alone. You can't. So it's a situation where I used to love where the industry was going, but now it's just as bad as traditional medicine. It's terrifying. It really is.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. Did you see the Joe Rogan podcast with the Wells? What is it? Wells to Wells? Yeah, Wells to Wells. No, they're in Austin, Texas. Okay. But they do a lot of the whole hormone replacement. And, and it's a fast. You would love that. Podcast. Because he really breaks down the insurance and how it's all
the play, man. Yeah. It's insane. It really is
wild.
And the biggest thing is if you think the FDA, which again, and I'm going to kind of, you know how the peptides have been getting pulled off the market?
Yeah.
So we know why. And this is crazy. So again,
they don't want us healthy.
I'm not going to name the pharmacy, but there's a pharmacy in the wellness thing. Go to the A4M and I mean, all the different organizations that are for wellness, because you have traditional and wellness medicine. Right. So I'm grouping anti-aging into wellness. There's a pharmacy inside of that doesn't prescribe peptides because it's a specific type of pharmacy. Okay, so they go to the shows. And what they've done now is hired this jackass. One of these guys wrote the steroidology books and all this kind of shit. They hired him to basically file complaints in every state to the board about how bad peptides are. They created a coalition in Delaware, and the best thing is this hasn't come out. It's because like they want me to be we're talking about being the face of the person who comes out and goes after him. Right. So they'll sit there and they'll sit right next to the people who actually produce the peptides. And they're fucking them on the back end because they're getting all these peptides taken out because they can't produce it. It's going to be a huge thing. It's probably going to hit in like probably 2 weeks because they're finalizing the it's called the Coalition of Safe Compounding out of Delaware, and it's this thing that's putting all these different complaints to the FDA, to the state boards, and that's why all these peptides are coming off: thymosin alpha, beta, BPC. I mean everything. Tesamorelin. I'm not actually Tesamorelin still on it, but all this stuff is because.
But they took off Tesamorelin and Ipamorelin mix, which was my favorite.
Oh yeah, Tesamorelin is great. They still have regular Tesamorelin. It's just the CJC.
So let me ask you this while I have you here. I was taking Tesamorelin and Ipamorelin, and I loved it. But now they took that off, and now, to your point, they only have Tesamorelin. Is Tesamorelin still good to just take by itself?
Tesamorelin is the big daddy of all the.
So it still works just the same.
It's still fantastic. Okay. The other one is, I mean, it's almost overkill. I mean, because what it does is a GHRP. There's a hormone aspect and a peptide aspect that kind of hit the anterior pituitary in different ways to produce more. But most people don't need that big of a hike of natural growth hormone because it's not going to go the full way, you know. But Tesamorelin is by far, and what I use now is Tesamorelin, and then I have a little. It's kind of a unique blend I did. So it's Sermorelin, and then I combine it with Cialis and oxytocin. Reason in being is because I used to.
You want to be good in the bedroom.
Well, again, it's just the funny thing. Like, these women are like, "Why are you giving me Cialis?" I'm like, "Well, if you go through
blood flow, though, like, is it a blood flow thing?
It's a blood flow. Right. It's a delta sleep." And that's the funny thing. If you Google Cialis with delta sleep. It's been shown to help induce delta sleep. DSIP was a peptide that got pulled off, which is delta sleep inducing peptide, which was almost better than everything. So
really?
I would sit there and always combine it.
That one.
It's phenomenal.
Okay.
Of course, they pulled it off because it works and helps you induce delta sleep. Delta, you have delta, REM, theta, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Most people can't get into delta anymore because you're on your phone before this, or you're sleeping with your dog, or whatever it could be. So it takes about 45 minutes to get into delta sleep. Most people rolling, tossing, turning, their pineal glands all messed up because they've been on blue light all day, that kind of shit. So this would just break you through it. It'd be the best sleep of your life. So what we've done now is taken the effects of Cialis and put in with sermorelin, and then oxytocin causes more cerebral blood flow. Phenomenal mix. You know what I mean? So there's all.
And you do that before you go to bed?
Yeah, right before bed.
And then you sleep like a baby?
You sleep like a baby. I mean, I would say you sleep like a hooker on Sunday.
And
it's good. It's good, man.
And you sell this one?
Oh yeah, for sure. Again, it's funny. Again, the other thing is once you come up with these blends, all of a sudden every pharmacy starts doing it. And it's just, you know what I mean? You can consistently reinventing yourself. But that's the sad thing, that one of our own is the reason all these peptides are being taken off.
And it's because they're trying to monopolize the market, basically?
They can't produce it. So say you come to me. I do everything from Botox fillers to ketamine, hyperbaric, whatever it is. It's a one-stop shop. So if you're coming in to see me, okay, well, I'll just do it here, right? The problem is this company can't do peptides. So they were just, it's a huge, huge pharmacy. And when it comes out, it's going to blow your socks off. They can't do peptides. So somebody go to a place that does peptides, who does everything else that they do already. Why am I going to go to two different places? Just get it here.
Right. So now they got pissed about that.
Exactly. So now they're just trying to fuck everybody on peptides. So you can't do peptides, but you can come to them. You know what I mean? For their IVs and testosterone and other nonsense.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's going to hit. It's going to be a really, really unique thing coming out soon.
Do you think that that's going to bring the peptides back?
No. Again, again, FDA. And, so it's funny. Big Pharma funds 45% of the FDA, which nobody understands that. It's like Al Capone paying for the Chicago Police Department. Right. It's insane what goes on with that stuff. We're hoping. Again, I'm in contact with all pharmacies because half these pharmacies I was there from when they started. I've been doing so long. It's just crazy to see how nobody gives a shit. But you have something like the COVID vaccine. Right to market. It's just what the fuck is wrong with this situation?
If we put this was my theory when that all went down, is I told everybody get on thymosin alpha.
Thymosin alpha and beta. They took it off 2 months into it.
Exactly.
2 months into it.
I stacked up. I was taking that every day.
I did too, man. The nice thing is the pharmacies, whenever they take something off, they can use the supply they have left. So I was
that's what I told Sean. I called Sean. I go, give me everyone. Yeah.
Lyophilized, so it's good for you. Exactly.
We did that too.
No, heck yeah, man.
Well, what other peptides? I love peptides. So any other? So your blend you talked about, which is fascinating. Any other ones you like?
My favorite one right now. So NAD.
I love NAD.
Yeah, I've been doing NAD with my patients since 2012, and it's funny because there's something out called 5-amino-1-MQ. Okay,
I take that.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
The way that works.
Now let me ask you a question though, because should you cycle it?
No. So basically, what it is. Every day you take, I prescribe the intramuscular NAD, so you take a shot of that with the actual pill, because what it does is if you look at it, about 5-fold, it increases the NAD's efficacy.
The one
fascinating.
Amino
5-amino-1-MQ.
Yeah, that's hard to say.
Fascinating. It's
that one increases NAD?
It increases because it helps with the mitochondria, the cellular respiration. There's a lot of different things that goes into it, but it's also been shown for anti-cancer. It's a phenomenal thing.
I know it's phenomenal.
All my cancer patients go on NAD with the 5-amino-1-MQ, plus a bunch of other stuff as well.
What is your thoughts on NAD IVs?
Fantastic.
Okay.
It's just
because that's what I do, but they're expensive.
It feels like fucking Satan grabs your soul, but
Sean. So I do it in 15 minutes, and Sean's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
Insane, man.
And so it's because I'm a little bit of a I love testing myself. So when the day they came in, they were like, it's a 4-hour IV. And I was like, I don't have 4 hours.
Exactly. Just open it up.
And I said, open that sucker up. And they were like, it's going to hurt. And so I literally was sitting there. My stomach was killing me. And I felt like my head was going to pop off.
I'm telling you.
But I was like, I'm going to do it. And so now I just go in there and do it every time.
Man, that's awesome.
But I love the way it makes me feel. When you get done with it, you're like,
out of your arm, red meat, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But it's a little expensive. So
it is. And unfortunately, hopefully as this progresses and as these things get out and more people understand with this medicine, those costs will eventually come down. Yeah. It's just right now it is a rich man's game. And that no insurance covers it because they'd rather pay for something for life for somebody to be on as opposed to fix something. But yeah, NAD is one of my favorites. I used to get AMP, which makes NAD look like shit. Adenosine monophosphate. So
I've seen it on peptide sciences. I've seen AMP.
If you get the right stuff, I
Yeah.
haven't dabbled in the black market for this one,
Right.
just because again, when you put it in an IV, it feels like your heart's going to blow up, but it's just like it's almost like injectable, like cocaine or something. It's just because it's pure, it's adenosine monophosphate. The second it finds two more phosphates, it becomes ATP, which is the ultimate form.
Yep.
Yeah, you have ATP, FADH2, and NADH. Those are the three forms of kind of energy in the body.
Right.
FAD and NAD are the smaller kind. ATP is the big daddy. So if you put that precursor in there, shit, man, watch out, But it's funny because I've been trying to get my pharmacies. They said, well, they took it off, but there's no real regulation on it. And so sometimes I'll go through and just buy the lot myself. It costs like $25,000, $30,000, but it's all mine, and then I can prescribe it as is.
Right.
I've done that things like injectable CoQ10 and things like that. It's just with them, they're kind of dragging their feet just because of how intense it can be. But it's awesome.
But it's not like you're not going to like overdose or anything like that.
Well, I mean,
it just kind of makes you feel like crazy.
Oh,
like,
it makes imagine NAD times 10. I mean, like because it's the end product. It's so awesome. It really is. But yeah, there's so many different peptides out there now. It really is.
I know. There's so many.
But again, it's the combinations. You know what I mean? Some people say, I'm just going to take BPC and heal. The fuck you are.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? You make sure your IGF is right, your DHEA, cortisol, thyroid, testosterone, everything needs to be right. And that's kind of why, people in my clinic, they'll come in and one of the most expensive part is the blood work, the actual diagnostic testing, because we're testing everything. And if we sit there and find one thing, like the biggest thing we find now is mercury toxicity. Mercury should be a $2 billion product because everybody has it. 80% of people we find that are new patients have mercury toxicity. And if you look at what mercury toxicity causes, diabolical. Everything from Parkinson's to dementia to cancer to autoimmune disorders, sexual dysfunction. I mean, I can go on all day if you just Google it.
Sean talks a lot about that.
It's a huge one, and it's just people don't understand the biggest culprit, fillings. Dental fillings that we got. Yeah, in 2025, January 1st, it's now completely illegal to put in amalgam fillings in Europe. They're still doing them here like candy.
Of course.
But it's just like a situation was like, all right, it costs like $2,000 to get it completely out of your system and all that stuff. You want to keep doing that? It's insane. You know what I mean?
Are you doing like chelation to get it out?
Chelation. Yep. Funny thing is NAD is phenomenal for that.
Oh, okay.
So the NAD 5-MeO-Q really gets it out. I developed an oral chelator, and then I have the IVs to do it as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it works well. That and another big one's Candida. Candida is a huge one.
What's it called?
You know how women get yeast infections? That's a Candida-based aspect.
Candida.
But we have Candida everywhere. It's a yeast that lives in our system.
Okay.
The problem is whenever you're immunocompromised, you have stress in your life, you don't feel whatever it could be, your immune system takes a dip. And if that happens, that Candida can overgrow. That can be everywhere from your digestive tract to your eyebrows to your nose to skin to everything. It also causes people to crave sugars because sugar is what feeds it. Sugar, alcohol, any type of that thing. So when we have somebody who we find that in, when there's smoke, there's always fire. You're always finding a hormone imbalance, mercury, whatever it is. But Candida is literally one of the most diabolical things that a lot of people have. They just don't know it. So it's a situation where it's like, I've been doing this for so long, you start to pick and choose, or not pick and choose, you start to figure out what to look for in people. You know what I mean? And Candida and mercury especially, are the two biggest things. I'd rather treat a mercury toxicity patient than a person who has testosterone depletion. Why? Because you fix this could rebound.
Right.
That's why people go on this.
It's all connected.
Exactly. Everything's connected, and that's what people don't understand. You can sit there and say, I just want a testosterone of 2,000. It's the stupidest thing in the fucking world. You know what I mean? Like, give me a testosterone of 800 and an IGF of this and an adrenal cortisol.
Right.
Then you're going to feel like King Kong. You know what I mean?
I actually went to this hormone therapy guy, and he prescribed me, his cocktail or whatever it was. And I put on like 20 pounds, and my head felt like it was going to explode. And I was like,
were you shooting test Scipio?
Yeah. So, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And so I went and I just got tested myself, like not even through him, 2,500.
Jesus.
And I was like, bro, what are you doing to me?
No, man, that's dangerous.
And I was like, and I literally just was like, I'm done with you. And then
it's those doctors who have no clue how to do that, and it gives it a bad name.
And it was expensive too. Like the whole situation, the first treatment, the second treatment, sitting down and getting the consultation was like $600, all this stuff.
These false prophets.
It's crazy.
Out there, it's insane. It really is. It's sad.
And there's a lot of them out there,
dude.
Especially in Miami.
I'm going to say 90% of physicians in this industry right now are in it because you see no call, cash based, and it's a fun thing to be in.
Well, and now they're doing the daggum
telehealth and all that kind of
telehealth.
Yeah, telehealth. Yeah,
and I mean, they're just
Tic Tacs, just like with the ketamine, same thing. Oh, I need that. Send them testosterone.
Yeah, right.
It's just like you're going to kill people in that. You know what I mean? It's going to give the doctors who actually know it. Like with me, like I grew up, I've been on everything in the world when it comes to gear wise, bodybuilding, everything. Right. You know, on a major level. And it's a situation where bodybuilders tend to be the smartest athletes out there because they know everything. And the come off cycle of, if you're doing HCG, clomiphene, and all that kind of stuff is one of the most important things in this industry that nobody understands because they've never done it. You know what I mean? Like, you see, I tell everybody, you can't take weight loss advice from a fat doctor. How many doctors out there are fat? How many out there are not?
Most.
Exactly, 100%. You know,
and they look old and
raggedy, but they're sitting there telling you smell like cigarettes, and they're telling you, it's just like shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, and a doctor should be your hero. You should go to that person because you want to look like them. You want to have the same lifestyle as them. That's why I've tried to brand myself as being this crazy doctor. And again, I'm always 2 weeks out of a show. You know what I mean? But again, that's my job. It's not my job's not prescribing.
People are going to trust you.
Exactly. 100%. So I have people come in, they fly, and they see me. They got tattoos. My office looks like you're on Alice in Wonderland. You know what I mean? Like, but then they sit down and they see what I've done and all this kind of stuff. They're like, well, if you're doing all, okay, what do you need? Here's a card. You know, and like we treat. I mean, I've never been trained in cancer or neurodegenerative disease or anything like that. I'm treating that more than anti-aging now with crazy, amazing success because my favorite case was a Parkinson patient who came in, 83 years old when he came to see me. Kaplan referred him to me, actually, and because it was on his last leg. He came in and like I asked him one question. I was like, "What makes it better or worse?" He goes, "Nobody's ever asked me that." He said, "Whenever I get stressed, so what's my job as a doctor? Make sure he's not stressed. Check his hormones, everything. Anemic, all kinds of different things. I put him on testosterone, growth, everything. Within 6 weeks, this guy was having sex with his wife again. I mean, it was insane. Dude, I did a whole documentary on it. It was beautiful. And he would always sit there and say, because I did a pro bono. You know what I mean? Like, because I was like, I'm not going to take something on that I don't know. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to pay for it. You know, I'm going to document the shit out of it. You know what I mean? So he was fine with that. And then he kept asking me, so, what can I do for you? I was like, you just keep being Lee Hill. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then finally, like I got to the point where I was like, I'm going to document this, So I hired a team to come in. I said, Lee, are you afraid of heights? He said, I'm deathly afraid of heights. I was like, well, I got something you can do for me. He's like, what? I said, we're going to go hang gliding next week. I took him, there's a place up in Florida here. You can go a mile in the air. They pull you up.
This 83-year-old.
Who's 85 now.
85,
man. It's one of my favorite. And I tell everybody that video, if I was to die tomorrow, I have videos of me getting in fights with sperm whales in the water, with sharks almost taking my hand off. That would be the one video that I would say that defines me. Wow. Because it was just so fun to sit there and see, like, if you treat this person not as a Parkinson patient, treat him as me, as a person. It was the easiest thing I've ever done in my entire life. You just replaced different things that were off. We pulled some metal out of his system. Dude, when he came in, because the three things he wanted were to have a better mood and affect. So when you go on something like carbidopa or levodopa, you just won the lottery. That's great. It takes all of your emotion away, okay? And he was full of pizzazz, but he just couldn't express it. He couldn't sleep, so he wanted mood, sleep, and sex with his wife. His wife is a bombshell. She's 70 years old. Oh, she's awesome.
That's amazing.
So it was cool. So again, like sleep came first, mood came second, and then week 6 he came in. He's like, "Can I talk to you?" And I have an office full of people, and I was like, "All right, Lee, I'm gonna come outside real quick." He's like, "I had sex with my wife last time." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Really goes, penetration and I orgasm. I'm like, dude, you're my new hero.
What?
You're my new hero. It
That's
was awesome,
so
dude.
cool.
I was
and
awesome.
are you getting like more Parkinson patients
dude,
now?
So that video probably brought me in close to 125,000.
I was about to say,
dude, because I have people.
Because I hope that you're able to keep this going for people.
It was fantastic. So. We're doing that. I mean, cancer has been a really, really good one. MS. I had a 33-year-old kid who was diagnosed wrongly with MS. He was dehydrated. He got diagnosed off of one film. He came in and like, if you see his documentary. He's like, dude, I say fuck too many times. I was like, no, man, because he was so pissed off. Now he's out snorkeling with his daughters, doing sharks and all this kind of stuff off of a medical error. Medical error is the 3rd leading cause of death in the United States.
Wow.
It's worse than respiratory disease, kidney disease. You're more likely to have your doctor kill you than respiratory disease, than kidney disease, than diabetes. It's terrifying. And it's just anybody, as long as you graduate, you're a doctor. And that's the shitty thing about it, man. It really is.
Wow.
And like I tell everybody, I've done, as to date, K-Hole's 413. So I'm probably the most ketamine person you'll ever meet.
And so you've done it 413 times?
413 times.
And is there a like a protocol that you kind of put on yourself?
Again,
or do you just do it whenever you want to do it?
So so what it is, so there's different ways to take ketamine. You have the nasal sprays, you have the sublingual troches, you have the intramuscular injections, or you have the IV. IVs are kind of like the Super Bowl, okay? The injectables at home are kind of like practice. So what I tell everybody, if you're gonna do the practice, take it as meditation. Meditation is good twice a week, just like high intensity exercise, twice at most. You know what I mean? Like any more than that, you're breaking things down. It's not working. So I made it a point to do twice a week indefinitely. And I mean, I'll be honest, for everybody you're gonna talk to, I'll be the happiest person you've ever met. I'll be the most. Again, my dad gave me this: never be the most rich person at the table, never be the strongest person at the table, never be the most best looking at the table. Be the most fucking interesting person at the table. And that's why all the shit you see that I do is it's not just because I'm bipolar or autistic, whatever you want to call me. You know what I mean? Like, it's because if I can sit down and have a conversation with any single person I ever meet, I don't care if it's Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, about something, whether it's I'm a master scuba diver, I'm certified in rally car, I've raced Formula One, every little part of that is me experiential living, which is phenomenal, but also creating this persona of like, what do you want to talk about? You know what I mean? That's why it was funny. I was coming here, I was like, I'm going to prepare for it. I'll talk about anything. Man, talk about saltine crackers? Fuck it, let's go. You know what I mean? Like,
all my business partners always like trying to give me advice about this podcast. So you need to do this, you need to do this. And I fucking go, no, I'm going to freaking talk to people.
Make it genuine.
Yeah. Because I just saw this too, is that authenticity is like the number one thing in business, like nowadays too, because people see so much bullshit, so much scripted shit.
Filters. There's so many filters.
Exactly.
In life,
like, let's be real. Let's be vulnerable. Let's be authentic. Let's just see what the fuck happens.
No, for sure. Like, again, like I call myself a Republican. Okay, and again, I know politics is a very touchy thing. You know who I am. I have some of the biggest Democratic donors in the world as patients, who we are polar opposites, but I'll meet you halfway. I don't give a shit about gay marriage or drugs. Do whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. You start messing with my life,
messing with my freedom.
That's where the shit hits the fan, and like they respect that because I'm completely authentic about it. You know, I don't hide it. You know what I mean? I just told you I shot a lion. People are going to lose their mind when they hear that, but I told you why I did it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a situation whereas I don't hide anything. I'm straightforward about it. Even with the things with my wife, I've been straightforward from the beginning with it. You know what I mean? It's just, I think.
Does she do the ketamine?
She does. Yeah. And again, when you do ketamine together with somebody you're intimate with, it's fallen in love on a different level. And again, like I've bounced inside of her head before. And again, we'll sit there and be like, what do you see right now? What colors? Like pink and yellow. And I'm like touching raw. I'm like, you know, because I'm there. Like, I always, because again, I'm a student of life. I always want to know. And again, ketamine is a blue ocean that's never been explored. So everything you hear about it right now, nobody fucking knows. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're going to a different dimension. I don't know if you're sitting there and seeing God, or it's just your brain is so amazing it creates the perception of what you want to see. Nobody knows. You know what I mean? So it's a situation where you have to continually educate yourself. And like with me, I'm always experimenting with ketamine, with hormones, whatever it could be, is by adding certain things to it. You know, well, ketamine's majorly glutamate heavy, so it's excitatory in the brain. That's why it's on and off. Well, if you throw something like THC, or if you throw something like MDMA, if you throw something there, you're hitting it from dopamine or serotonin or whatever it could be, and it enhances the experience or it numbs it. So you sit there and you start to learn. That's why I've done so many. I'm not doing it because I'm addicted to it or I'm just trying to just get high. Which again, ketamine is a drug I will never do recreationally. Ever. Psychedelics in general, I don't like doing them recreationally. If I'm gonna do that, that's religion to me.
Like therapy.
Yeah, exactly. It's therapy. I'm sitting there, I'm doing it by myself or with like a friend or whatever it is. Like that, we're in it to grow from it. You know what I mean? Alcohol, weed, all day. I'll go and do whatever I want with that shit. You know what I mean? But when it comes to that aspect, you have to be continually growing with whatever it is you're experiencing. Same with the gym. You're not gonna go do the same thing every single time. All right, I'll do a front squat instead of a back squat. So you're building different parts of your brain.